going on, y'all? It's your boy Gibbons here.
See,
Welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous podcast, episode 44. Bro, we've been doing this for 44 weeks straight. 44 weeks straight. There are 52 weeks in a year. We are almost at a full year of shooting, recording, and posting an episode of the Achromous podcast each and every week for our audience. If this is your first time here and you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and also hit that subscribe button. So the next time that an Achromous podcast episode is posted, you'll be one of the first persons to know. And most of all,
it is free to do so. Yeah, please. You know, as you know by now, if you are an avid follower and you follow our content, this is something that we go through every single week with Jay, and there's just a constant reminder to do all three of those things because it's free to do so, and also spread the word. Like, you know, get it out there. We want to get the subscription up for sure, which lets us know that more people are being more attentive and actually more in tune to the content we provide. And look, we know a lot of people out there really enjoy it and has actually used a lot of you know the gems that we've shared in their personal lives, and we looking to reach more people as well and to make a difference. In order to do that, we need your help with that, so please be sure to do so. Again, it's free to subscribe, and let's put a smile on Jay's face.
that's absolutely crazy. You know, I don't know how anything could be free in this country, but if these gems are free and we're 44 episodes in, I know there are hundreds of gems in all of the episodes that we have. So if this is your first time joining us, be sure to go through our videos, check out ones that relate to something that you're going through at this very moment. Hit us in our DMs, comment under the videos, call us. I don't have my number out there, but find a way to get in touch with us, and we'll be sure to connect with you as well. Look, it's been a crazy week, right? You know, I know Thanksgiving is next week. I know there's a break here that we're going to be going through. But man, last week's episode about finding a healthy escape, I needed a gym this past week. That was, of course, my healthy escape. I know your healthy escape is fitness as well. And I really needed to lean on that last week rather. And just having the ability to go to the gym, to lift weights, to spend time around people who are after the same goals and absolutely crushing their mini milestones, getting there. It felt really good. You know, it felt really good. And going forward, it's something that I'll pay more attention to. You know, whether it's, you know, packing on the pounds on the weights that I'm lifting, losing weight myself. Being able to have a healthy escape is something that we all need in our society today. So, you know, if you did not get a chance to watch the entire episode 43, be sure to go back and listen to it, because there are gems in there that you can use today in order to find your own healthy escape.
Yeah, it's definitely something that everyone needs to have, and somewhere to find an alternative to not just persevere what you're going through, but to work on your growth and self-development. You know, you really need to have that part about yourself discovered, and really get to know just how wonderful a feeling it is to have a healthy outlet and a healthy escape as you're building healthy habits for yourself.
Absolutely. And look, you know, I think being able to have a healthy escape really allows you to reset your mind, truly understand what your purpose is, know what your mission is in life, and then actually follow through. I think it helps you to get centered, if you will. And the one thing I do want to mention is that the 21-3 method is actually done being written. It's been a good 8 to 9 months now that we've been in the trenches working on this practical guide that you can use to create a fitness and a healthy lifestyle in 21 days. And I gotta say, it's been a joy writing it. It's been a joy interviewing you and asking you all the questions that were necessary to build something that was practical, something that our community can jump into immediately and see results. Because I think that's very important in our industry. And then sustaining those results as well, because I think that's something that is lacking in our industry. So January 1st, 2022, you will be able to have access to the 21-3 method, and it will be available exclusively on the achromoussstore.com, where you can find a ton of other gear as well, including this brand new shirt, man. I mean, this is you see this light blue shirt. If you are
Mhm.
listening, you're not watching on YouTube, then you're missing the color of this shirt. It is a great shirt. There's great phone cases as well. There are hats available, pants, shirts, everything you can imagine on the achromoussstore.com.
Mhm.
And most of all, there is an opportunity to save money. When do you get a chance to save money? If you go onto achromoussstore.com, you go down to where you put in that promo code never fall, that is never fall, you can get 25% off of anything in the store.
25% big ones off of everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a heck of a deal to me.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. So, look, I gotta say, man, this has been quite a journey for us. I know I always go back to when we started. Um, didn't have the light, didn't have this microphone, didn't have the camera set up, didn't have anything. We were just starting off. We were really walking through the dark. We weren't really comfortable with what we were doing. We didn't know exactly where we were going, but we knew that we had to at least start. We knew that we had to put something out there for us to know what exactly we wanted to talk about. We had to sit down. We had to listen to our community. We had to be able to take constructive criticism and build onto that. So to know now that we are at episode 44, we're only a few episodes away from episode 52, which literally marks a straight year of doing this. I gotta say, this is a great feeling, because I I don't know if I'm speaking for myself here. We'll see, but there was a moment where we had to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. There was a moment where we had to step outside of our comfort zone of not really talking about some of the things that we held private in our own lives, not wanting to express our vulnerability, not wanting to express what our purpose was from some of the heartache and pain that we've both been through. So I think getting to this point now and being able to be so open with our community, so open with the general public, it shows that it is very possible to live outside of your comfort zone and sustain that long term.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So turn lead by example, follow through on your actions, let your
Yeah.
actions speak for you. Um, I think that is definitely shown through. We've been very transparent about that and the process of what it looks like for us individually, together as a union, together as a community. It's been a long, long journey where you have to realize everything that's manifested itself through our actions. Nothing has happened by chance. I really believe in the universe aligning things in a way that things happen the way it's supposed to. And every experience that we encounter was designed to get us to the point to remain consistent in what we're doing and to grow in a place of learning how to handle ourselves when we aren't as comfortable, when we are vulnerable because you feel that way. And look, change is a strong representation of that, what it represents. It's always uncomfortable. There's never a form of it that makes you feel okay with it right offhand without feeling a bit apprehensive to whatever may come. So I really feel like this part of what we've developed and grown into so far has really been based on the importance of our experiences, our willingness to commit to providing our truths and our experiences on a center stage on a platform, and we love to do what we're doing. Like, look, I'm not feeling my best today, but I'm here right now. I'm fighting just as much as I have. These guys, DBZ, shout out to those who knows the
Yeah.
anime. I'm sure we're fighting. And fight through whatever because I feel as though the message of what we have to give is so much bigger than just myself, than
Mm.
Jay. When we say community, we really mean an outreach, so we hold ourselves to a higher standard that no matter what we're dealing with or we're going through, unless we are bedridden, and there's a reason why we can't deliver that content to you. We're going to continue to do so on a weekly basis. And we've been consistent with it because we've also grown through this process. You've grown with us for those who've been with us since day one of us airing our podcast. And even for those that's known us personally for other endeavors we've worked on uh, around Achromous, before we decided to take it live stream in this kind of era in this kind of way. So we thank you for coming along the ride and being willing to allow us to be vulnerable, being willing to allow us to feel our way through this process as we continually doing as we speak on it now. But we really thank you for allowing us to make a difference in your life as much as you've made in ours, and we continue to look forward to where that takes us from here.
Absolutely. And I think, with all we've been able to accomplish so far, it's really crazy that we've been so consistent, that we've continued to provide such great content to our community. And I think it speaks to the growth that we've been through as well as our community has, during these past 44 episodes. And the one thing I can say for those who are struggling to live outside of their comfort zone, who are looking to grow, towards their purpose, who are looking to fulfill their destiny and accomplish the goals that they have set. One of the questions I used to ask myself all the time, whenever I'm dealing with a situation that brings on anxiety or, brings on some type of nervousness within me, I always ask myself, what is the worst that can happen, right? You put that out there. You ask yourself, okay, let's say I have a big presentation tomorrow. I'm going to be in front of executives, that they don't know who I am, they've never met me, but I somehow have to encourage them that this product was going to be the best product that they've ever used. Well, what's the worst that can happen there, right? The worst thing I can say is, maybe we'll pass this time, or maybe I may forget my lines or whatever, right? I think once you get that out there, you're now giving yourself the opportunity to be able to overcome those doubts and succeed, because you've now put down exactly what could stop you, right? So if you know what could stop you, you also know exactly what could drive you to finish. I think I think a lot of the times a lot of people fear what they don't understand, they fear what they can't see, they fear the unknown. So if that fear is now known, you should be able to understand how to maneuver around that to say, okay, if that's the worst that can happen, I know that I can succeed, because that is not going to slow me down. You begin to build confidence so that when you get into these types of situations, you'll be able to come out the other side a much better person. You'll be able to grow from it. And I always say to myself, okay, what have I learned from being in that situation? Let's say I'm now done with that meeting or that interview that I had with these executives. What have I learned? It wasn't that bad. I can improve on this. I can do that. Right. And that's something that I think, for anyone who has gone through those type of situations, always ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? And then once it's done, you reflect on what you've done. And typically it isn't that bad. It never ends that bad. It always ends up being better than you could possibly imagine it being, right? I know there's something else that other people have said, imagine everybody in that room does not have any clothes on. For whatever reason, that does actually
Mm.
work for some people.
Mhm.
Because you're like, all right, I feel like I'm a lot more confident now. I could be more myself. I can relax. I can really go in here and bring my true self to the table instead of being timid, instead of being over anxious, instead of really trying to contemplate and be perfect. I can be myself, because I know if I bring myself to the table, there's no reason why I shouldn't win. So i
Oh
think
yeah.
i think yeah, I think being able to ask yourself what is the worst that can happen and put that out there, I think you put yourself in a better position to handle the things that you believe can slow you down.
Mhm. Great pointers. I mean, I feel as though if you really channel in and just really embrace the concept of just now is all you have in that moment, don't get too far ahead of yourself, then it'll help you through that process, because you can't predict the outcome.
Right.
No matter how you go about it, you could just pace yourself, develop yourself, so that regardless of what may come, you are okay and still intact with yourself. That you can be okay. And no one's saying to like settle for whatever the
Mhm.
outcome of what that was, but
Right.
be okay with yourself. So, for example, with evaluations with work or things like that, I had something like that recently where I got feedback from my superior, and I had my personal feelings and my thoughts a certain kind of way. I took away whatever I needed to take away from that.
Mhm.
And ultimately I had to ask myself, okay, how did you feel about your work and what you've provided this year? What have you contributed? And be okay with that. Because if you're not okay with that, no matter
Mhm.
what you hear, vice versa, whatever the way things may go, it won't matter either way. So it really comes back to just dealing with self-development,
Mhm.
finding the tools and methods that will allow you to be okay and be content with your development as you're going through whatever you're experiencing. So, like, as we said before, with the journey and onto what we've been doing with the Achromous, and even taking a step back further in our own personal time and how we're working on ourselves, and there are things about ourselves that we are still learning to work through. And I think it's shown through at times, throughout different episodes where we've allowed ourselves to be vulnerable, to be emotional, to be passionate about what we
Yep.
feel, what we think, what we experience, and to share, to let you know that that's okay, and for you to seek inside yourself to do the same. Because when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Who's there? Who's there for the world to bear witness and see,
Mhm.
right? A lot of things I say to a lot of good close friends of mine, from mine, I would say a lot of the time, when they're out into the world, perfecting their craft, doing something that's beneficial growth for them, I try to say to you all, to say, hey, look, continue to display your greatness, showcase your talents to the world, like, because you are great in your own right. And change and being uncomfortable is a good thing. That is
Mhm.
really a good thing,
Right.
because it lets you know just how much alive you are, right? Because there's an inevitable outcome one way or the other, but your thought process and how you feel about that process can dictate your state of mind and how you take it, right? So a lot of times, again, we are our own worst enemy, our own worst critic. So nothing
Mhm.
no one says or do to us can ever be enough. So if I'm working my tail off to remind myself of my self-worth every day, there's a thing that I can encounter, a level of being uncomfortable that get the best of me. I think about people who are performing on a grand stage, either if
Mhm.
you're a comedian or you're a singer. We've had guests on there. We have actors guests on
Right.
there. We've had musicians on here,
Yep.
right? These are prime examples of things that you could, folks that they may do where you might be uncomfortable, but you learn how to thrive in that environment. You learn how to bring out the best in yourself in those sort of situations and circumstances. And to be totally honest with you, I love those moments now. I
Mhm.
like the moment where I'm put on the center stage and I have to show up and show what I'm about. I
Mhm.
I enjoy, I relish in it, because in
Really?
those moments, those it's my now. It's a part of defining and showing people who I am,
Mhm.
right? So even with what we're doing, the content we put out there, that we put on for Achromous, or even our personal content that we put on in different ways, it's just showcasing who we are. Being willing to walk into a room and speak to hundreds of people, or just to someone you don't even know. I'm confident in that because I know me. I know who
Mhm.
I am. I know what I bring. So get to know me if you choose to. Could be one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life.
Right.
That's how you got to see yourself, see your worth.
Mm.
I don't mean that from a place of being superficial or shallow at all, but know your worth, learn who you are, take that time. So when you're encountering these moments that require you to live outside your comfort zone, you spearhead it and you're ready every single time,
Mm.
and those around you will notice. Even if you are nervous, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right. None of us are perfect. That's tired that saying is thrown around so often, but I feel like we live in a need for perfection. I know I did. I know
Mhm.
I lived in that realm heavily for most of my life, until I realized that I was If I was going to be who I needed to become, I had to let that go and just know that I am who I am. I got great qualities about me, and I got parts about me that I want to strengthen to be better.
Yeah.
There's no ultimate flaw in me. There's just self-development at all times.
Mm,
So to get in a place of being content in knowing who you are, so that when you are faced with these moments, you make the most practical choices that you can through them, and you embrace them and accept whatever the reality of it is going to be. Whatever the outcome is, it's going to be what it is.
right.
And dig this, we're not here forever. So whatever it is, at some point, it won't matter to some degree, right? Depending on
Yep.
what the topic or what the situation is about. But your lasting presence is what you leave behind you, right? So your comfort zone can affect you from leaving that legacy that you intend to lead,
Yeah.
for any way, shape, or form, albeit if you're an athlete or a musician or an actor, a performer of some kind, or if you happen to be a podcast host like we are, an entrepreneur, any sort of thing that you touch in your life, if you're not okay with yourself, and you shy away from uh, fear, then you are cheating yourself, because
Mm,
ultimately that's what it boils back to, is fear. So now I live my life fearlessly, where I live in a place of truth, as I call it, but that's because I choose to be there, because I want to leave a legacy behind that sets a tone, it sets a standard, right? How did the saying go? Your legacy is everlasting for as long as the last person that's allowed to remember you.
mm,
So if I do that enough, of living in my truth, of being fearless, of loving me so damn much that the world knows, and I show it and I share it and I give what gifts that I have to the world, my knowledge, my experiences, our experiences to the world, then we are making a difference. And that in itself is everlasting enough. And
mm.
all it took for me to do was be fearless and live outside the comfort zone that I'm used to. Not that big of a challenge when you really think about it, right?
Right.
Just a
Absolutely. I
stepping
mean,
stone.
it is. It is. And look, it took me a while to really feel that, just even sitting here on this platform and having our voice and our opinions go out to strangers every single week. It's something that takes some getting used to, because regardless what type of feedback you're going to get some type of feedback, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's, some constructive criticism or just, plain old hate, like you're going to get something back. So that's a risk that we all take with our emotions. But if we understand that we are worth it, if we understand that we are in our truth at all times, if we are strong within ourselves, none of that can break us down, because we know what our purpose is. We know where we're going. We know how to get there, and we're just maneuvering through with our community. So I think it's very important for you guys to understand that too within your own lives, that living outside of your comfort zone will only bring you success. Living where you are now, knowing that you can do so much more, is so painful to live with, because not only do you know that there's something else out there for you, but you are choosing not to go for it. You're choosing to keep yourself behind. And that right there is like a slow, painful death to me. If I knew that there was something else out there for me, but man, there's just so much risk. I I don't know if I feel comfortable in front of people. I don't know if I feel comfortable getting my emotions out there. What if they don't like me? Man, I don't think I'm worth it enough. People aren't going to listen. All of that negative feedback that I'm putting in my mind is starting to show itself in my own reality. So as I continue to be negative towards myself, that's all I'm surrounding myself with. So I'm staying where I am, where I actually choose to be. So the moment you say, I am going to live my life, I am going to be true to my purpose, going to be true to myself, and I'm going to go for what I know is mine. Once you make that decision, once you commit to it, the only way you can go is up. The only thing you can do is grow from there. And the best part about it is you get the opportunity to look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years later and see, damn, that's when it started for me. That's when I knew that I can turn the page, I can grow. And I continue to grow because of the people I decided to surround myself with, because of the decisions I decided to make from that day on. So as long as you're consistent, as long as you are true to yourself, as long as you know what your purpose is, living outside of your comfort zone becomes comfortable for you. You know what I'm saying? Like this feels great to me as it does to you. I know it does. And I think as long as we can put this out there to our community that there is really nothing to fear but fear itself, you can go so far in this life. And as Will C mentioned too, this life is temporary. It's unpredictable. We could be here today and gone tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So what I always have on my phone, and I've mentioned this on podcast episodes before, is you could die tomorrow. I have that literally on my phone
Mhm.
every single morning. I read it to remind myself that I'm only here temporarily, right? It's a miracle that I'm here today. Every single thing that's gone, that's happened in our lives in general, not just Will and I, but anyone who's watching this, anyone in our community, a set of circumstances had to happen for you to be where you are now, for you to be able to see this, for you to be able to listen to this, for you to be able to take this in and have the opportunity to take action on what we're saying. All of that is created by you. It's created by the universe. It's created by everything that you've done up to that point. So if you are in charge of the life that you're living, why not live a purpose-driven life? Why not understand yourself more? Why not continue to grow? Why not continue to propel yourself towards where you truly know that you can be? Don't spend time in a place where you know you don't belong. That is so painful to live in. I know it because I've been there before. We'll see. I know you have too. So knowing that you could be so much better, knowing that you can grow so much more, knowing that there is no ceiling for you on this planet is powerful. But what's even more powerful is taking the action to get there. And once you're there, being able to help out a community, being able to help out people who are also struggling in that same journey that they're on, that's also powerful because we're all in this together, regardless of the race, regardless of our gender, regardless of our sex, regardless of any other thing that may be unique or special to us. We're all humans. We're all on this planet together. And as long as we continue to grow together and be out of our comfort zone all the time, there is not enough progress in this world to stop us.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. I mean, it comes down to really asking yourself this question. Well, one or two alternatives. Do you choose to spearhead and tackle the fear head on, or do you choose to regress and live with regret? Like,
Mm,
that's what it comes down to me. It's really as simple as that. And I choose to spearhead fear because I am here transitionally. Everything in life is transitional.
mhm,
So my time on here is in this earth is limited. I don't know when my last second will be, but I won't waste any more of it with regret.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So I choose to adjust, adapt, evolve my thought process through all of that. And you will be fine being comfortable outside of your comfort zone
yeah.
at all times.
You know what I find funny? It's like we tend to regret what we didn't do, right? We tend to regret what we didn't do, what we decided to not pursue. I remember when I was much younger, I was about 22, 23 years old. One of my friends mentioned crypto. They mentioned Bitcoin, and this is when Bitcoin was at like $23 per coin. This was a very long time ago. And I remember where my mindset was at the time. I was living in a zone of comfort because I felt like I've been scammed before. I've been taken advantage of before. I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to continue to be in this bubble where I'm just not going to take risks. And I remember telling him that that is just something that I don't see building. And I was telling myself that because I didn't want to live that truth. I didn't want to fail again. I was so risk averse that I was living in this bubble that I know I shouldn't be in because I knew exactly where I wanted to go. Looking back on it 10 years later, it's crazy where Bitcoin has gone. It's crazy how far crypto has come. And my biggest regret is not getting in. Now that I'm in now, which is funny, I'm in it now. And of course, if you're in crypto too, you know there's a ton of volatility. So one day you could be up 130%, the next day you're down 50. right? And it keeps going like that. But the fact that I'm in it now, I do not regret getting in. I regret that I didn't get in before, but now that I'm in now, regardless of the volatility, I don't regret getting in. Why? Because I know what my purpose is. I know exactly that I'm living in my truth, and I wasn't back then. So now that I've been able to evolve, now that I've been able to grow, now that I've been able to take the time to study these things and really dive in without that regret, I've been able to put myself in a much better position financially than I had been in the past. And this is not to plug crypto or anything. This is just to show you that you yourself are holding you back. Nothing else is. And the moment you take that leap, the only thing that you would probably be regretting is that you didn't take the leap earlier, that you didn't try harder before. Because we can always look back, hindsight is 2020. But the fact that you are making moves, the fact that you are taking action in your life, regardless if you win or if you have a lesson learned, you're never going to lose. So what exactly is the worst thing that can happen to you?
Not ever taking a chance on yourself. I would take 100 times the chance on myself than not take a chance at all because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
living. I'm just existing.
Mm,
And we a lot of us do a lot of existing or living precariously through ourselves, through others.
hmm.
We don't really live,
I would say
you know.
social media
Social
is
media.
the yeah, that is the one. That
That's
is the
it.
exact example.
That's
I
exactly what
mean,
happens.
every
We
single
scroll
time.
all day
Yep.
long
Yep.
into the life of others that are doing something of some nature,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yep.
But how much of that time do you take out for yourself?
Mm,
Not much. Not much.
hmm. And it's like, man, what is really stopping you from living not the life that they're living, but the life that you want to live, right? Because again, with Instagram, with Facebook, with all these social media platforms, you're only getting a glimpse of somebody's life. You're not getting what's actually happening. You're getting a snapshot, you're getting a doctored video or a doctored image, you're getting something that's filtered, something that is so unrealistic that you then start dragging your mind in, like, God damn, I wish I can have that life. Man, I wish I can live like that. But you do not understand what that is. You must be true with yourself. You must understand what your purpose is and go for that. Don't go for the purpose that you're seeing somebody else's. You're looking at somebody else's purpose. You're looking at somebody else who's trying to make their lives better. You make
Mhm.
your life better too, based on you, based on you, because you're the one that matters.
You matter. Right.
You're the one
Exactly.
that's so damn
Well
worth
said. Well said. That part right there. We get away from our sense of self worth. And again, you have to be very meticulous about learning yourself so that you don't base your self worth based on the approval of others. That's a very, very thin line. You have to be
it. Yep,
very, very mindful of that.
absolutely. And I mean, look, we can talk, right? As we have been talking this whole time on the Achromous podcast. We can always continue to talk. We can always say what we mean. We can always give you the idea of living the life that you should be living, living a purpose-driven life. But it is up to you to act on it. So once you understand what your purpose is, don't hold yourself back. Yeah, there are going to be times initially where it gets a little difficult. You are uncomfortable. You feel like you do not want to move forward because you're afraid of succeeding as much as you're afraid of failing. But the best way to live your life on your terms is to make progress. It's to take action. It's to understand your purpose and know exactly what it takes to get there. Knowing that you have a set of people around you who are there to support you, who are there to help you when you fall, you know, I think that also is something big too. Knowing that you have family that you need to support, including your daughter who's sitting right there. For those of you who are looking on YouTube, you're seeing her. If not, if you're watching on Spotify, we have a special guest who's joining us. You probably can't hear us, but it's you have to continue to live outside of your comfort zone. You have to continue to You have to continue to live a purpose-driven life. You have to make sure that you learn from the lessons that you go through because you don't want to repeat them. Continue to face your fears one step at a time. And always remember to ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? And I can guarantee you it's never as bad as you imagine.
Well said, Jay. I mean, as you just saw, I have to face fear head on. I have to be an
Mhm.
example for my little ones. I have to be an example for my daughter, for
Yep.
my son. I have to make sure that
Yep.
they know, they learn that part, they learn what it's like, and I'll be that example. It's part of leaving that legacy I was mentioning earlier,
Absolutely.
that lasting legacy.
Mm. A lasting legacy, because that I believe is one of the most important things you could say. I think understanding that we all have a legacy to live and a legacy to leave behind. I think it's important on our journey to keep us straight, to keep us on that right path, and to fully understand where we're going. Because if we don't have a direction, if we don't have a compass, if we don't have a purpose, we're just floating. We're just moving around aimlessly without a care in the world. We're lost. We don't know what we do. We're affected emotionally, mentally. So it's very important to understand your purpose so that you are living outside of that comfort zone with a purpose. Don't do it just because you feel like you need to. Do it because you have a purpose to do so and know exactly where you're going. And I think at this time, it is important for members of our community to share exactly where you're going. During this episode, you heard exactly what it takes to live outside of your comfort zone, to do it in a sustainable manner, and to continue to make progress. Always continue to face your fears and know exactly what your purpose is. So at this time, we want to hear from you. What is one thing that you do constantly that is outside of your own comfort zone? Number one. And number two, how has it improved your life? The best answer that we can receive on this will be featured in the next episode of the Achromous podcast, as well as in a post on our page.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Um, Again, as you grow with us, we're growing with you. So help us grow. Help us find other methods and tools you may have in place that allows you to live outside that comfort zone and
Mhm.
to be fearless and bringing out the best part of you each day because you matter, because you're here to be able to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I mean, this is we're on a Sunday. We're only a few days from having a happy Thanksgiving. I think there are a lot of things that happened this year, a lot of reflections that we've had both on these episodes and in person as well. I think our approach next week is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a special episode, a Thanksgiving edition of the Achromous podcast, where we have an opportunity to freestyle a little bit. You know, a lot of our subjects have been very helpful. They've been very action oriented and purpose driven. I think next week is a time for you to understand a little bit more about us. As you can see, again, we have a special appearance by Will's daughter, and I think this is one thing to be thankful of, that we could be thankful for family, could be
Mhm.
thankful for love. We could be thankful for those who are around us in our lives that appreciate us and continue to grow. And I'm sure you out there in the community have the same feelings as well. And we want to have an opportunity to connect with you guys on that level. So next week we'll have a special edition of the Achromous podcast, episode 45. We will express how thankful we are for our community, and we will be thankful for everything that we received during that episode. And I can't wait to sit and have some turkey.
Same here. I'm sure I have a little special guest, my daughter Amira. I can't wait either.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's gonna be great. Look, for anyone who has joined us for the very first time, number one, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you were able to take some of the gems out of this. I hope you now understand exactly what it looks like to live outside of your comfort zone. If you've been here before and you still don't understand what we're about, number one, shame on you. But I'm going to take it easy because in a few days, we're going to express how thankful we are. So we are thankful for you to come back. But if you don't know who we are, let me just spell it out for you
Break it
one
down,
more
Jay.
time.
Let them know.
Achromous. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on IG. You can find us on Spotify. You can even find us on TikTok. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. Every single Sunday, 9:30 a.m., we put gems out into the universe, out to our community for you to live a purpose living life, purpose driven life. Try that for a third time. For you
Third
to
time's a
understand
charm.
what it means to live, for you to understand what healthy habits can do to benefit your life. And we are so thankful to be able to do this every single week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We do it because it's our passion and we live outside that comfort zone we were talking about. So we do this fearlessly and we are consistent and dedicated to bringing gems to you at all times. So continue to grow with us, guys. And thank you for being a part of this journey.
Absolutely. And until next week, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
We'll see.